Hello, Red Wave. We're back. If you took the over on, I don't know, was that 1 second on the hello you hit today? Welcome to Beware of Bulldogs. We're your hosts, Caleb and Caleb, making it easy on you guys. We're talking Fresno State football. It's homecoming week. So before we get into the breakdown, the preview of Fresno State versus UNLV, Mr. Pletz has some words for us.
Yeah, very important message this week. Our friends at the Fresno State Alumni Association want to know that they have you covered this week. It's homecoming. It's always a big week. Lots of events going on, but there's a handful that we want to make sure that everyone's aware of. Wednesday, the 25th, the unveiling of the Victory Bulldog statue. On Thursday nights, the homecoming alumni mixer at the Smith Camp Alumni House. Friday night, definitely be at this one, the homecoming takeover at Crow and Wolf. Caleb and I will be there. We're doing a live podcast, so definitely stop by Crow and Wolf. It's in Clovis. I think Fresno State Alumni Association can be there from like 4 to 9. So big opportunity there to come and hang out with us and maybe get some takes on the air. And then finally, Saturday the 28th, join the alumni tailgate at the neutral zone in the White Lot. So there's plenty to do. There's something for everyone the week of homecoming. And to learn more or purchase a homecoming game bundle, visit alumni.fresnostate.edu/homecoming.
All right. It's going to be a party. I can't wait. There's lots of other things going on, but I hope to see you at Crow and Wolf on Friday. It's going to be a lot of fun. Do you have one more for us, Caleb?
I do, yeah. We want to also mention one of our other sponsors, Manage X. It's a full-service property management company. They service single-family homes, small multifamily, office, and industrial properties here in the Fresno and Clovis area. They've been in business since the late 70s, and they're big supporters of Fresno State and Beware Bulldogs podcast. So if you need property management services, you can check out their website, managex.net. And they'd be happy to help you out.
All right. Thank you, Caleb. So Sam's here. Let's go, Dogs. It may be a little weird. This is not our regular schedule. This is a Monday night, and the 49ers are playing. So I'm not expecting a whole lot here from the YouTube and X. But if you're here, thank you for tuning in. We thought we didn't do anything Sunday, so we're doing it tonight on our preview. So we're doing our preview live. You guys hang out with us. Let us know what you think about UNLV and your thoughts, and we'll get to you. We're going to get through going to make you sweat, our everybody dance now, our keys to the game. We got weather. We have what Vegas says about the game and our final score predictions. There's a lot of stuff in store here. But first, we're going to talk about UNLV and what we know. We will have a get to know later this week. But first things first, UNLV is 6-1 coming into this game. Their only loss being to Michigan at Michigan. So not too shabby. Now,
and
I will
especially
say,
if Michigan had their signals or signs too, I mean that's basically impossible to get a victory there. So,
hey, I would definitely bought tickets to Vegas to go steal signs for sure. That is a whole another ordeal that I don't know. I think it's actually kind of interesting and fun. UNLV last week beat Colorado State by 2. They kicked 6 field goals, hit all of them, 25-23. In my opinion, they haven't played the best competition. They beat Nevada, they beat Hawaii, they beat Vandy. And now I will say they've looked good doing it. UNLV runs, and Caleb, you could tell me more about this. We watched a little bit of them. They run a very odd offense. They run like a spread option attack. They'll line up 2 running backs with their quarterback in the shotgun. And they'll sometimes have 2 running backs on the same side. Does that make sense to you? It's wild. They run a lot of option stuff, kind of like you said before, Caleb, and I like what you said when we were talking, like Air Force, but in shotgun, pretty much.
Right. Yeah, it's definitely a strange or different offense that we don't really see in the conference. I do need to give credit to Coach Coyle. He did mention that in his press conference today. So that
Okay.
it wasn't a complete original thought there, but yeah, it definitely rings true, and also makes me concerned because Fresno State has struggled against Air Force historically, and being able to stop the run, and that's going to be UNLV's real first option is running the option. I mean, they're pretty much going to have a running back, diving up the middle, and then they have an option with, the quarterback and another running back kind of running off the edge, and he can pitch it, he can keep it. Their quarterback, Maeva, who took over for Doug Brumfield, who coming into the season was one of the higher regarded quarterbacks in the conference. So definitely surprising that he got beaten out by I believe Maeva's a freshman. So definitely surprising there that there's a change. Maeva is not hugely dynamic runner. I mean, he's definitely capable. He can move, he can get outside the pocket, and he can be dangerous. But for the most part, I wouldn't say he's going to be the most dangerous runner that Fresno State is going to face. But he is still a weapon out there for UNLV. So yeah, definitely a different type of look this week. And if you are thinking ahead, which we try not to, but good to have this kind of practice, against hopefully, maybe the Dogs are going to go up against Air Force in the conference championship if, things continue to go the way they go. Air Force is undefeated. They're looking really strong. And so this is definitely going to be a test for this Fresno State defense of how are they going to be able to contain the run. But UNLV's passing attack is, also, very potent.
Yeah, we're going to have our hands full. That's for sure. Something that I came across that is very interesting. UNLV is second in the conference in yards per game behind Utah State. So we have seen Utah State. We know they spread the ball out and they throw it all over the field. UNLV, they can do that when they want to. I didn't see the stats, but Maeva threw for like 350 yards against Colorado State. He can do everything. They're second in the conference in total yards per game. And I believe they're second in the conference in rush yards per game. Yes, they are in rush yards per game. And they're first in the conference in points per game. This offense is no joke. They can play. They're right up there with Utah State and Air Force. And by the way, we're right behind those three schools offensively. Now, where they struggle is defensively. Well, I shouldn't say struggle. Comparatively to their offense, they're struggling. They are middle of the pack in the conference in yards per game. When it comes to passing yards per game, they're at the bottom. Rushing yards per game, they're near the top, and they give up. They're fourth in the conference. They give up about 26 points a game. So defensively is where we're going to have to take advantage of them. We'll break it down even more. But this UNLV team that we talked about, when they let go of Arroyo, are they going to be able to bounce back? Because they were building. They did get a lot of transfers this year. They look good. And I mean, there's a chance this UNLV team can make a lot of noise after or this weekend. And I hope we shut them up though.
Yeah, definitely. I hope that this is a statement win for Fresno State. And especially historically, the UNLV Rebels have given Fresno State a game. I mean, pretty much every time. I mean, they show up for this Fresno State matchup. And so, we should give some credit to the UNLV administration because I know, preseason, both you and I were pretty dumbfounded that, they got rid of Coach Arroyo and made a change, but they also picked up a head coach with SEC experience, and I think that's proved to be a big difference here. They've put together a good staff. Their players are bought in and playing hard, and their offense is really potent, like we've mentioned. So yeah, it should be a really, really fun game here on homecoming. Yeah,
Sam says that if we played those teams, we'd be up there too. At the top. Good point. Good point. All right, let's talk about. Do we need to talk about any of their players? We talked about their quarterback, looking like it's going to be Maeva. They have some good skill position players. We'll get to know their players more when we have the get to know episode when someone from UNLV comes to talk to us. But any that jump off the page for you, Caleb, when you look at this UNLV team?
Probably one that I'm most concerned about is wide receiver Ricky White. He's a big body wide receiver with speed. He's able to get separation on the outside, and so he's definitely a threat. Whoever lines up on him, whether it's Hamilton or Carlton Johnson, both those guys are going to have to basically lock him down to make it be a little bit more difficult for Maeva to make a tough throw. And with freshman quarterback, I think there's definitely an opportunity here for the Fresno State secondary to take advantage. I know he had a couple ill-advised throws, last game against Colorado State, so should be an opportunity there. But Ricky White's a really good wide receiver. He can get that separation. So if the ball's anywhere in his area, I think he can. He has a chance to come down with it. So he's definitely one that I'm worried about. And I mean, they have a handful of running backs too that are dangerous.
Yeah, Vincent Davis, Donovan Lester, Jaden Thomas, 3 names you guys should know offensively. They carry the ball the majority of the time. Donovan Lester and Jaden Thomas are getting touches in the red zone. They all are within 50 yards of each other or so. It's even keel and who's getting carries and things like that. Very close. So a lot of stuff goes on in the backfield, just like Air Force, but it's in the shotgun. Jose Pisano is their kicker. He hit 6 against Colorado State. He's 18 for 19 this season and 100% on PATs or extra points. And his long is 52. The guy can kick. So we're talking about names and players. I had to throw in their kicker. He's done a good job this year.
Yeah, definitely. And on the coach's press conference earlier today, Coach Tedford did compliment that this UNLV team is, sound at all 3 phases of the game, including special teams. So, it's something that the coaching staff is aware of. And, that's always difficult when, you can't count on, a blunder or, a college kicker making a mistake, if they are, that sound. And, if they're within striking range, to have, pretty good chance of getting points is definitely going to be tough for the defense. But yeah, I think that might be one of the keys, to this game is, containing them to field goals and, not letting them score touchdowns. Obviously, that was Colorado State's problem last week, is that Colorado State wasn't able to convert, on, very many touchdowns either, because, their defense was doing a decent enough job of, keeping them out of the end zone. But if your offense is not putting up enough points, then it's still going to be a long day.
Right. Now I'm going to give you some numbers, and remember, they haven't played the best competition, but they have 10 total interceptions on the season. And I believe they've forced about 8 fumbles, six fumbles. They are forcing a lot of turnovers. Jackson Turner leads the team with 3 interceptions. Jonathan Baldwin with 2. A bunch of guys with interceptions as well. And then they have 18 total sacks on the season. And their DB Williams leads the team in sacks with 3 right now. So there is a lot of moving pieces on this defense. A lot of guys flying around to the ball, forcing a lot of turnovers. But remember, Hawaii, Nevada, Vandy, UTEP. Those are some of the teams they've played. But still, they've forced those turnovers. And if they hold on to the ball and they're coming in with high confidence, this is a team we cannot look past. So this UNLV team is going to be dangerous. We cannot look over them. And another thing that I want to talk about, Caleb, is the Boise game, which is next week, is sold out. Everybody's looking forward to, as in the Red Wave. Everyone's looking forward to Boise. We haven't heard a lot of this. It's homecoming. I'm hoping there's a lot of people that show up. But are you surprised at all that there's been a lot of hype for Boise and not this one?
Yes and no. I think part of the scheduling issue is, it is, I guess, Halloween weekend. I think a lot of people do have, other, parties or gatherings that they want to go to. And especially with a late kickoff, usually Halloween parties are at night. So, if, they aren't as dedicated about going to the Fresno State game. I think that this could be easily one. It's like, they're overlooking UNLV because if they aren't paying too close attention, they might not know that UNLV is 6-1 on this year, and it's going to be a really good game. So yeah, I think that comes into play a little bit. But the Boise State matchup is always going to get probably the most attention. And hopefully for Fresno State's sake, this is a victory this week just to keep building on the momentum for the following game. But yeah, hopefully by game time, more tickets are sold. I think number wise, I think we should be, at least 35,000, seats. That's just, gut feeling. I don't have any ticket stats, but I think that, there will be some noticeable gaps in the seats, but I think it still should be a, very good crowd.
Yeah, I think so. Sam's looking to scare the pants off someone. I don't know what that means, but we're going to get to what's going to make us sweat and what's going to make us dance. But I'll save it. I'll save it for later. I will save it. Okay. I'm going to save it for later. Let's get to Givoli Winery. Givoli Winery is a local winery who supports the Bulldogs and Fresno State athletics. They're located on Biola Avenue, just north of Shaw. Open Saturdays and Sundays, noon to 5. Weekdays by appointment only. If you're looking to get out of work, they are going to be open on weekdays. Just got to call them ahead. Local wine made by local grapes, and the winemakers are Fresno State alums. So check out Givoli Winery. Oh, by the way, I should mention wood fire brick oven pizza will be there as well. Saturday and Sundays, noon to 5. Givoli Winery, located on Biola, just north of Shaw. Also, Eastie's Wood Shop. You got to check out Eastie's Wood Shop for your custom woodworking and home decor needs. Let Eastie's bring your ideas to life. Check out shopew.store to send them a message. And for their line of personalized gifts this holiday season, it's going to get here quick. So make sure you're on top of your holiday gifts. Use code BEWARE at checkout for 15% off your first purchase. That's shopew.store, code BEWARE for 15% off your first purchase. They have really cool stuff. So check out Eastie's Wood Shop. All right.
As an expert on sweat and sweating, I may as well be a sweat scientist.
Caleb, there's a lot of things that can happen in this game. We've had 2 weeks to prepare for UNLV. We've had 2 weeks to heal up. By the way, I should mention in the presser, we didn't get any news from the coaching staff. Lavelle and Mikey are apparently game time decisions. We will know later on into the week. Take that as you will. Who knows? I hope they're good to go, but we don't know. We're not 100% sure what exactly is going to happen, but I'm happy that we've had these 2 weeks to prepare for UNLV. We've had 2 weeks to prepare for UNLV and watch them and see what's going to make us sweat. What is going to make you sweat this week?
So I'll be sweating if UNLV is able to control time of possession, hold the ball, long sustained drives, especially if they're going to be, run dominant. Similar to the Wyoming game where, Wyoming held the ball, they controlled the clock, long sustained drives that ended in touchdowns. So if there's a repeat of that, early in this game, I'll definitely be sweating because, we still have a lot of question marks at quarterback. Who's going to play? Which version of this offense is going to show up? So, if UNLV is able to control the clock early and put touchdowns on the board, then it could be a difficult game for Fresno State.
Yeah, I think what's going to make me sweat is just if we can't stop the run. That is their bread and butter. That's what they want to do. We'll see if they switch it up. They did against Colorado State. Maeva threw for a lot of yards. I don't think Colorado State has a defense like us, but they are capable of doing that. But because they like to set the tone of the game on the ground, if we are not stopping them, then I'm going to be sweating. And some of that, there's two things. We got to set the edge. Our guys outside, whether that's an edge rusher, if we're lining up, a linebacker out there, or if we just have our DN on outside, we got to stay outside and force them up the middle, feed them to Lavelle and Malachi Langley and all these guys, Ray Scott, all our linebackers who are studs, because they will stop the run. I know that for a fact. But if we let them get outside, we're going to have a little bit of trouble. Most teams have. So let's set the edge, force them back into the middle of the field. Sorry, Caleb, you're going to say something.
Yeah, I think bringing up tackling is important because, last game against Utah State, I mean, there was a lot of, missed tackles out there on the field. So especially if there's a shifty runner in space on the edge and, it's a one-on-one tackle, Fresno State needs to be able to at least get a good hit on them to, let the rest of the gang catch up to help clean it up. So, yeah, I agree. Tackling and containment, not letting their weapons, get out in space. That's, definitely going to be important there.
Yeah, I'm excited. Hey, Nathan's here and from Florida. All right. What's going on, Nathan? Thanks for tuning in. I'm not too worried about much else other than their running game right now. I believe that Coyle and the defense that he puts together and the skill of our safety room, which I believe is getting better. I know Cameron Bracco was a little banged up, but he's looking good right now. And the guys we have out there at corner, we're going to be okay, especially with a freshman quarterback there. We need to force him into some tough throws, and I would say force him to make some deep throws and beat us over the top. But I'll say that for keys to the game.
Yeah. Here, let me ask you one more sweat factor question. This UNLV offense, high scoring. Fresno State, the most points they gave up was week 1 against Purdue. They gave up 35, gave up 32 to Utah State, 31 to Eastern Washington. So, I mean, what's your sweat factor with, the Dogs giving up, more than 30 points? Do you think that's likely just because of how good this offense is? Or do you think that Coach Coyle is going to be able to scheme it up?
I think Coach Coyle is going to be able to scheme it up. I believe that we do a pretty good job of stopping the run. Our front seven has been pretty good. I'm not worried about them running all over us too much. Granted, I will sweat if they start doing that because I'm used to us stopping the run. But I would get worried if a running team is scoring 3-4 touchdowns on us while running the ball well. I would definitely start to sweat because that means time of possession is big for them and they're wasting time on the clock. And depending on how we're doing offensively, we can't waste drives. So I think if they score 28 points in this game, I'm going to sweat a little bit. But I will say this, our offense is very capable, like we've shown, to win shootouts. So there's no reason why we can't hang with them. The only difference is this team will milk clock, and we can't allow them to do that. We need to get 3 and outs and force them into punting situations. And it's going to be a big battle of field position, to be honest. So Corey says he feels like we have a high ceiling this year, but our floor is much lower. And Nathan said that he joined the Air Force, so he's there for tech school. He's had every Bulldog game on at night. Every time he tells people we're in the same conference as Air Force, well, you know who they root for. Stay strong, Nathan. Stay strong. All right. Let's get to the good stuff.
Everybody dance now.
Everybody dance now. Caleb, what's going to make you dance this game?
I'm going to dance if there's an offensive explosion this week. I think, and I'm going to set it, reasonable too. If the Dogs score more than 40 points, then I will dance.
Okay. I like that. I want an ASU defense to show up. I'm going to dance if we force turnovers, specifically 4 or more turnovers. I'll be dancing. I think it's very possible with this option attack. We need to get a good push up front on the D line. We can do that, force them into, tough decisions. And of course, I'm going to add it in here always because we have to take a kickoff back, please. At some point this year, I would love to take a kickoff all the way back. I'll continue saying it. I skipped one episode and it didn't happen. Wow, it's not me. So we're keeping it going. Kickoff return for a touchdown, I will dance, and 4+ turnovers is going to be big, and we can do that. Keys to the game, Caleb. I mentioned setting the edge to force their running backs inside. I want our linebackers to stay inside because that's where they're best. And I believe we can do that. I think that's a big part of stopping the run. The other thing is forcing their young quarterback into tough decisions. Let's get quarterback pressures, quarterback hits. I'm all about it this week. Put a lot of pressure on the young kid. Anything that you're thinking for keys to the game?
Well, in terms of keys, I think we need to talk personnel a little bit. We mentioned it briefly that, the injury report is murky. And, we had a little bit added by Coach Coyle by saying, last game Cam Braca was banged up, and that's, why he, hardly saw the field. So, you'd expect him to be back. I expect Lavelle to, be a full contributor to this game. I think, the fact that he, gave it a go I think he played the first half, against Utah State in the last game. He's got the heart and the toughness, and I don't think he's going to let something minor keep him off the field if he's able to go. So I'd expect those guys to both be full contributors. And, like you mentioned, this Fresno State defense needs Lavelle Bailey to clean up everything on this defense and to get tackles. So, I mean, the biggest question mark, like we mentioned last week or, 2 weeks ago, who's going to be playing quarterback here? Because I think that it's a different offense depending on who is, throwing the ball. So I think that I'd like to see Mikey out there just because of the control of the ball factor. I don't think he's going to throw a pick. I think he's going to do what he needs to do, but I don't know if he's going to be able to be as explosive as, a healthy Logan Fife. I mean, if, the ankle is still bothering him, will he be able to escape pressure and, extend a play? I don't have the answer to that. So what's your take on the quarterback mystery?
Having sprained my ankles multiple times, 3 weeks is quick, man. I know they have a lot more stuff than what we had in high school. But either way, pros rarely get to 100% after a sprained ankle in 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So I would be shocked if he's 100%. Would I be shocked if he's playing? No, because he dressed against Utah State and he was warming up. I would not be shocked if he's playing, but I would be shocked if he's 100% and plays at a high level. I think it is in our team's best interest to go with Logan Fife, regardless of how you feel. If you think Keen's better or Logan's better, I think it's in the team's best interest to go with Logan right now because he's 100%. But if I am a coach, I think my leash is short with whoever starts. If Logan struggles, you move to Mikey real quick if he's able to play, and vice versa. So I don't know, man. What do you think about that? Do you think that the leash is pretty short? I see in the chat there's a disagreement. So Fife over Keen over Fife. I don't think anyone thinks that it's a bad thing that we're arguing about quarterbacks because we're happy that we have 2 legitimate quarterbacks. But it's just who offers what, who's healthy, But back to the short leash, Caleb. What do you think about all that?
I think that if Mikey is healthy enough to go, he's going to be the one under center taking snaps. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you short leash QB1. I mean, unless there's a re-aggravation of the injury. And so I probably wouldn't characterize that as short leash. But, with with Logan, if he throws a couple picks early, I don't know if they make that choice to rush Mikey out there. Maybe if he's only 60% and just say, hey, we need you to come fix this. I just don't see a Coach Tedford coach team doing that. So I think it's going to be either one, and it's basically going to be their game until they're not able to go. So. But I also have no way of knowing who's going to be that QB. Hopefully we'll get a little bit more clarity in, practice this week. And we are recording this a little early than we usually do. But I think that I would agree with you that I would rather have mostly healthy Logan Fife, because he could be dealing with some stuff and being banged up too. Right. But the perception of being healthier and coming off a really strong performance last week, that I do think there's some momentum to build off of there. So I think I would probably lean with Logan Fife. Let's make sure that Mikey is fully recovered, especially with a big matchup next week against Boise State. Coming to town. Then let's decide there. With Mikey having another week of rest and recovery. So I think I'm leaning toward Fife. That's who I would go with. Based off of the information that we have. But yeah, I mean, who knows? It's going to be a game time decision. Coaches aren't going to tell us.
Nope. I quit checking. No, I do check, but whenever the press conference comes out, you can guarantee the answer that you're going to get from the coaching staff. All right. When it comes to offense for Fresno State, where do you think we can take advantage of UNLV? Through the air or on the ground? A lot of people that I've been speaking to are a little worried about our running game. Utah State was a little better, but they're ranked towards the bottom of rush defense. Do you think against UNLV we establish the run, or are we going to attack through the air?
I think it needs to be on the ground. Sherrod showed what he can do in the most recent game, and it was a really strong performance by the Fresno State offense, but it had to be balanced, and that's something that Coach McCann mentioned in the press conference today, that he was trying to get Malik at least 20 touches in that Utah State game. So Malik is back healthy, which is good. He's number one running back on this depth chart. He's quick, and he's also probably the best at pass protection too. I think he's shown that, but I think it needs to be an established running game just to give the quarterback a little bit more time to throw the ball.
I agree. Jesus or Jesus of East. I can't see it. East Los. Status on Damian Moore. This is what I know for a fact is coming each and every week. Status on Damian Moore. I don't know. And each and every week, I know my answer.
Yeah. And I mean, at this point in the season, 7 games in, going into, the back half of the season, I'd be surprised if he was able to find the field. The different reps so far at the running back position so far. I mean, the clear number 2 is Gilliam. I think behind that, we haven't really seen much from Devin Rivers or Jonathan Arsenault. It's pretty much been the 1-2 of Sherrod and Gilliam. So I'd be really surprised if Moore, if he was fully healthy, if he's going to be able to crack that, just based off of how well Sherrod's performed.
Yeah, we talked about him earlier in the season. Everyone's really excited for Damian, and I still am. But right now, Gilliam, Sherrod, they're the guys, and they can move the ball. And like you said, it's time for us to establish the run against UNLV once again, like we did against Utah State. Okay, we're going to get to any other keys to the game, Caleb. Special teams.
Yeah, I mean, the only other key I think I have is, somehow getting a defensive touchdown, just because I think this is going to be a high-scoring game. I expect Fresno State defense to struggle a little bit and, give up a handful of touchdowns. And I think that, getting a defensive touchdown is going to help out the Fresno State offense, take a little bit of the burden off, defense contributing there. So that's one of my keys. And kind of building off what you said about pressuring a young quarterback. And you never know. If they're doing a lot of laterals to the running back on their option plays, there's always room for error there for something weird to happen,
Right.
a weird bounce, and maybe a scoop and score opportunity.
Right. Yeah. Brian Kennedy really liked what he saw from Sherrod in Utah. So he was incredible, actually, he says. He was. All right. Last sponsors. We're going to get to weather, TV, spread, final score in a sec. But first, check out Flora Flower Shop for local, modern, unique flowers. They get all their stuff from local growers. Also, if you need gifts, mugs, journals, baby toys, they have that. They're a one-stop shop for gifts. Their store hours are Monday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. on Shepherd and Willow. You can also order flowers online, or you could come in, and they actually have a florist there that will help you create something special, because if you're a guy like me and not creative, you need help. Well, a florist will be there to help you. And you can use code Fresno15. That's Fresno, the number 15, for 15% off. You can use that online or in the store to let them know that Where Bulldogs sent you. So that's Flora Flower Shop on Shepherd and Willow, Monday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Use code Fresno15 for 15% off your purchase in-store or on the website. Also, the Vine Church in Fresno on Shaw, just west of Grantland, is a big supporter of Beware Bulldogs and Fresno State athletics. If you're looking for a support group, strengthening your community, just getting involved in your community, and you like to hang out, talk to people, very kind, welcoming people, the Vine Church meets on Sundays at 10 a.m., like I said, on Shaw, just west of Grantland. There's prayer nights on Thursdays. If you want to get involved in small groups, they have that as well. Great people, fun community. Let me know if you're going to be there, because I go there. So Sundays, 10 a.m. at the Vine Church in Fresno. Thank you to all our sponsors for supporting Beware Bulldogs and Fresno State athletics. All right, Caleb. Weather, TV, spread. What can we expect on Saturday?
Yeah, big game, homecoming game. We do need to mention that Pat Hill will be inducted into the Ring of Honor at halftime of this game. So a little extra juice here in this game, and at halftime, hopefully there's a good turnout of former, Coach Hill players, because I know that pretty much every player we've talked to that played for Coach Hill just cannot say enough good things, and he's just a character on the radio, and was just instrumental in this program growing. So a lot to play for this game. Homecoming, Coach Hill being inducted in the Ring of Honor. 7:30 kickoff, nice and late, like we mentioned. Ooh. TV, Fox Sports 1, Alex Faust and Petros Papadakis on the call. Petros does love Fresno, which is good, so we like having him on the call. If you can't watch it on TV, you can always catch it on the radio on the Bulldog Sports Network with Paul, Pat, and Cam. So those are the media options. In terms of game time weather, it's a little bit all over the place. I mean, I was checking right before, and there's a slight chance of rain on Saturday. It's definitely going to be cooler. We're getting into football weather. I think the high on the day is 65. So, only a 30% chance of rain on Saturday. So I expect that to be kind of more earlier in the day and not at game time. But high is only 65. So you're going to need a sweater if you're going to this game. And, we're finally getting into some football weather. So that's good. In terms of Las Vegas, this line opened at 7.5 point favorite for Fresno State. That's moved to 9 points now. So, the bettors are favoring the Dogs, which always makes me a little questionable. And in terms of the point total, I believe it's at 58.5. So definitely expecting a higher score game than, some of the earlier games. So those are the numbers. How are we feeling about, the over, under, and the spread?
Well, I'm like you. I don't know if Fresno. I should go look at the numbers, but Fresno usually doesn't do a good job covering. So it's always worrisome. But I believe this is a game. After talking about it and watching UNLV, I know, Caleb, I mentioned I was thinking about looking at UNLV +9, but I'm starting to like Fresno State -9. This is what happens when you just start talking dogs for an hour. I'm leaning towards Fresno -9, but I am going to take the under. I don't. Also, back to the weather with chance of rain Saturday. If you're a farmer, make sure you get your raisins covered before Saturday. And I think most of them are because there's chances of rain today and throughout the weeks. But I was working on it today. What a pain. But we got to make sure to get it done so that I can get to the game on Saturday. So that's my shout out to all the farmers out in the Central Valley. Yeah, I'm taking Fresno -9, but I'm going to go with the under here as much as I love taking the over.
Yeah. So here's what I'm looking at. Fresno State, 7 games into the season. They've had 4 one-score games, and they've had 3 blowouts. I'm counting Nevada as a blowout because that was a dumb ending. It should have been a shutout. So 4 one-score games, 3 blowouts. So I think this game is going to be close, and I think it's going to be a one-score game, especially with the injury uncertainty. I don't know if we can predict a Fresno State victory of 2+ scores. So I think I would probably pick or take the points with UNLV, but I think this is going to be a Fresno State victory, like we'll get to here shortly. But I think it's going to be a close game, and I do think there's going to be a lot of points. I think it's going to be another tough back and forth. Fresno State defense, has had a couple really strong games, and then the other ones, it's been kind of back and forth, and the offense has needed to keep up. So I think I'm probably going to take over on the point total. I think this one's going to be higher scoring. I think both teams are going to be in the 30s. So, we should go over on that number, but I think both teams are going to keep it close.
My final score, Dogs 31-17.
Ooh. Well, 2 touchdown victory there. Okay.
I think it can happen. I don't trust the UNLV defense. And from what I saw against Utah State, I know we're banged up. I know we got wide receivers recovering. Sherrod, he's got some time under his belt to recover. It's up in the air for a quarterback, but I think that we have the upper hand on this UNLV defense. And because our defense has been iffy, inconsistent, I should say. But against a team like this, I think we can be successful. I think Coyle understands what's going on. He puts our players in the best position. And against teams like this, I don't think we're going to get beat by skill. I think we're going to get beat by them out scheming us, and I don't think that's going to happen. So that's why I'm taking that score line.
All right, I got Dogs 38-34. It's going to be higher scoring, back and forth. UNLV is going to kick some field goals, obviously, because that's what they've done all year. But I think that Fresno State, we are due for a blowout, Andrew. Thank you for that comment. I just don't see it. We haven't seen the offense and defense both put it together in the same game. So I think that the defense is going to struggle, but the offense is going to be able to do enough to stay ahead. So 38-34 is my my final score prediction.
All right. I love it, man. Well, thank you everybody for tuning in. Caleb, anything else about the Fresno game day experience? Reminder, we're going to be at Crow and Wolf on Friday, 4 to 9. Come on by. We're going to have an extra mic so you could, break down the game. Tell Pletz, that he needs to pick a blowout for once in his life. But we will be there at Crow and Wolf, so make sure you stop and say hi.
Yep, and then game day Alumni Association again. They're inviting alumni to head to the white lot and to the neutral zone for their tailgate. So I'm going to do my best to get over there and try to see what's going on with the Alumni Association. And it should be a great time. Like we said, there's still tickets available to the game. So definitely buy a couple tickets, invite some alumni that and try to get the red wave there and big numbers.
Yeah, and shout out to our sponsors, Alumni Association, Eastie's Woodshop, Managex, Givli Winery, Flora Flower Co., and the Vine Church in Fresno. Thank you guys. And thank you to you for always tuning in and listening. I know not on the same schedule tonight, surprise live stream, but it was a fun one. Stay safe, stay healthy. God bless. We'll see you on Saturday in former Bulldogs Stadium. And as always, go Dogs.
Go Dogs.